So, we've already talked a bit about our magic word desu in Japanese. This is the word that we put at the end of the sentence that can mean I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, they are, any of those options. So, for instance, gakusei desu can mean I am a student, or you are a student, or we are students. Any of those things are options. But suppose we need a little more information in our sentence. We want to specify who is a student, because we're talking about a topic we haven't brought up yet in conversation. That's where this new structure comes in. So, X wa Y desu. This is the most basic kind of sentence we have in Japanese. X wa Y desu. It means X is Y. We can change X and Y to be whatever nouns we want to show together. So, for example, 私は学生です. We know from our chapter 1 vocab, 私 is me, and 学生 is student. So what do you think we can make out of 私は学生です? That's right. I am a student. X is Y. How about 鈴木さんは日本人です? Suzuki-san is a name. See if you can figure this one out. You can pause the video and look at the list of chapter 1 vocabulary if you want to. It's on page 38 of the textbook. That's right, it means Suzuki-san is a Japanese person. How about 専攻は英語です? Again, you can check the vocab list if you need to. That's right, it means major is Japanese. Whose major? It could be my major or your major or someone else's major. This depends on the context. We'll learn how to specify a little later. But from these examples, you can see in general how this structure works. So, X wa Y desu. X is Y. So, what does this wa actually mean? Wa is a new kind of word, a category of word we have in Japanese and other Asian languages called a particle. A particle is a short little word, usually only 1 or 2 hiragana, that tells us how the words in the sentence relate to one another. In this case, wa is a particle that tells us the topic of the sentence. This is a little unfamiliar as an idea to us as English speakers. The topic is what we're talking about in the sentence. So, very literally, as for me, I'm a student. On the topic of me, I'm a student. So the watashi wa part is introducing this new topic of me. The gakusei desu part is telling us, I'm a student. You might have noticed something else about wa. It's written with the hiragana ha. So Japanese is pretty much 99.9% written exactly the way it's pronounced, but this is just one little exception. We write the particle wa with the hiragana ha instead of wa. It's basically a leftover from the way of pronouncing Japanese used a couple hundred years ago, but nowadays it's a marker that shows us this is a particle. When we see a random ha in a sentence, you can tell it's the particle wa. Now, one thing about Japanese is that it's a language where you can use context to tell you a lot, even if you don't say it explicitly. One of the biggest examples is that we don't have to say X wa every single time if we already know from the context. So we don't need to say, 私はアメリカ人です. 私は学生です. 私は over and over and over again. Once we say 私は one time, and we establish that we're talking about I, we don't need to repeat it until the topic changes again. So we can say 私は watashi wa Tanaka desu. It's not wrong, but we can also just indicate ourselves and say Tanaka desu. Same, we can say Yoko-san wa gakusei desu. 2年生です. We don't have to repeat Yoko-san, Yoko-san, Yoko-san every single time. It's not actually wrong if you do repeat it, but it does sound very foreign and not like what a Japanese person would say. We can bring back the wa when we change the topic. So we might say, 私はアメリカ人です。学生です。専攻は日本語です。We put the 専攻は because we're introducing a new topic. I'm American. I'm a student. But my major is Japanese. Major is a new topic. So we want to include it.